side. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi,
Thanks for
Melody.
watching.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, so nice to see you.
Hi everybody, I am Priya Desai. I live here in the Boston area. I'm a filmmaker and producer also. We've worked on other stuff together, and I was thrilled and honored when they asked me to come moderate Imran's film. Imran's film is a film that, it's a couple years old. As you guys know, it's a Sundance Award winner from 2023. And everybody's been trying to see it since then. So we're so lucky that it's here. We are like a really, we're just like a really lucky group of people tonight. So I'm gonna start. We're gonna chat for about 20 minutes, and then if you guys are thinking of questions, there's gonna be about 10 or so minutes for you guys to ask questions too. But I'm gonna start with kind of a general that I'll give to each of you. Which is really basic, just sort of like what was defining for you, or what did you take with you from having worked on this creative project? I feel like each of you must have had a totally different sort of entry point into it, and I'd love to hear about it from you. Melody, you can go first.
Oh.
Sure. If you want to, or Riz can go, and then you can.
No, you've said it.
drop
Now
off.
it's on you.
She looked ready. She looked ready.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I'll go first. Well, so this was filmed in 2022, and that was before I started college. So I feel like back then I was a different person. It's only 3 years ago-ish, but I feel like it's been so much time and I've changed so much. But back then was when I was an aspiring actress, and Imran was amazing enough to see something in me, see Liz Park in me, and I honestly just saw it as a regular old, like, oh, just another gig, like I'm super excited about it. But actually, after filming and also during filming, I actually became so attached to its story and didn't realize that although it is coming from like a South Asian point of view, I also relate in so many ways. And it is so special to be a part of something like this. And it's also one of the only like credits that I've done that has such a deep story. In the past, I've done some like kids shows, but nothing has been as special as this one. And watching it just now brought that feeling again, and I haven't watched in a really long time, so I just feel so grateful to be a part of something that really showcases a hidden part of everyone's story on the main screen, since we don't see that a lot, and I am just so incredibly grateful.
Thank you for all those words about the film.
Of course.
Well, first I'm going to say I don't think we worked together on the film at all, right? Like were we in any? Did we have
a day? I think there might have been a day of crossover, but yeah, they were.
Because I've seen the movie several times. I think you're like a standout in the film. I think you're absolutely wonderful. And I was talking to Imran today. I'm like, wait, she's going to Harvard. Is she doing? And they're like, she's not doing that. Is it weird that I'm disappointed that she's at Harvard and not doing? Like, is that a weird thing for an Indian dad to feel? Like, I was like, wait, what? Why isn't she doing this?
You're disappointed that she's doing computer science and
I
economics.
was like, wait a minute. This is like a weird world we live in. But just so, yeah, I hope you continue to do this because you're absolutely amazing in the movie.
Thank you so much. That's
Amazing.
What did you take away?
What did you take away, Riz?
So it's really funny about just from reading the script. When I was speaking to Imran, I read the script and I identified with the character of Ilyas. Like that was my story growing up. Like, I mean, I would have been, you know what I mean? Like it's the 90s and I'm like, this was my relationship with my dad. I was so frustrated with him. He just didn't understand like me. I was telling them, I was like, I wouldn't cut my hair and I would like grow a beard and I would wear mismatched clothes. We'd go to mosque and I'd have 2 different socks on. And like my dad just wouldn't understand me. And reading the script, I felt for the dad character. I was like, oh, I just didn't know all the stuff that was going on. Like, I wasn't, as a kid, there was no empathy I felt for my dad. I was always like, he's such an asshole. But it made me look at my dad in a different way. So yeah, that's what I took out of the movie.
I mean, for me, yeah, I have so many emotions about this film just because it's so closely related to my family and the people I grew up around and the community I came from. And so it's always like incredible. It was, the making of the movie every day was surreal. It's very surreal to recreate like your childhood or even like spaces that feel like your childhood. And that was every day, like walking to that house or like being in that house was strange but also like amazing. And coming out of the experience was when I watch the movie again, I'm just like, I can't believe they let me do this, you know? I can't believe we got to make this movie, and it's just like a special experience for me.
Riz, I have questions for you. By the way, fun fact, Yasmin was played by Rizwan's daughter. And she's beautiful and amazing. And she's also in a beautiful, amazing film called Queen of My Dreams, which you all should see. It's amazing. But I wanted to shout
But this
her
is not
out.
me.
Oh my God, actor dad.
Why am I jealous of my own kids? It's crazy.
Well, the funny story is that the script came for your children first.
Yeah,
Tell that story.
Well, that's how I got. So basically, my Ayana got an audition to play Yasmin, and my son, who was too young at the time, but he got an audition to play Ilyas. And I read the script to make sure that it's appropriate, because we've gotten stuff that's been not. And I read it, and then immediately I'm like, wait, forget about you guys. I called my agent, I'm like, wait, why am I not getting an audition for this movie? So I literally am an opportunist, and I use my children to get it was literally nepotism in the reverse way. So yeah, I'm a nepo baby in this movie.
That was actually not the question I wanted to ask you, but I knew you'd deliver, so I just went with it. No, here's the question I do want to ask you, which is that I know all about your career and the things you've done in the past, and the incredible artists that you've chosen to work with. You know, emerging storytellers, all kinds of storytellers at every level of their career. But what do you look for nowadays in the work that you do? I mean, you have reached a certain point in your career. I would like to think that we can be choosy at our age, but what do you look for?
I would love to be more choosy, which means I would love to be getting more offers, which is not necessarily the case. But I think for me, the story is so important. Like, identifying with the character, I have a special place in my heart for this movie. I've seen it many times, and there's something about this movie. I don't get a lot of opportunity to do this, and I thank Imran for giving, because I'm sure it was hard, because I do a lot of comedy, and this is funny, but the dad has a really serious and emotional storyline, and so it's hard. That's been the struggle of my career. I love doing comedy. I could do comedy all my life, but like, you do want to stress, you want to just do other things, and it's hard to convince people that I'm able to do this. So I thank Imran for that, and I'm looking for different things. I started off doing theater, and I didn't do it for 20 years. I have 3 kids, so it's hard to do theater. Yeah. But this year, at the beginning of the year, I spent 2 months doing a drama in Victoria, and I just realized that these are muscles that I need to use. And so I'm looking, at least now, I'm 23, and so I'm looking for a broader range of stuff. So that's what I'm looking for.
Well, you got it here for sure. Yeah. Imran, we talked about this the first time we ever spoke, but you and I are both from the Bay Area. Right. And when I first watched Mustache, I had a very emotional response to how you decided to portray a certain time and a certain place. Like, it was very, very special to me, and it's like anywhere we're all from. You kind of got to be from there to really get it. And I just think you managed to capture it on film, and it was beautiful. But you were juggling a lot when you were coming up with this story. Time, place, coming of age, obviously, and a very particular kind of coming of age. What were you in its essence? What were you exploring? What were you trying to figure out with this script? Because you could have written anything for your debut.
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think ultimately, I knew that coming from the community I came from, there was always this like dichotomy between maybe how you are maybe with your family or like religious community and cultural community, and then how you are kind of like in the broader sort of when you're out in school or you're out in public. Like I always just felt that those two worlds were really like different, and some of that's language, some of that's just like the norm, like that sort of cultural norms moving between spaces, code switching, like whatever you want to call it. And I think like I just felt that experience was something that I was really interested in, and also was unique and it does have to do with time and place, because I think even like if that particular community is different now than it was then, and people, and especially immigrant communities changing, and so it was just like, okay, well, if I want to tell that story about like somebody traversing those two worlds, then I think schools are a great backdrop for that. Mm-hmm. Schools, and in this case, you have the private Islamic school and you have the public school, and it kind of like becomes a metaphor for like traversing those worlds, that code switching or what have you, and like what do you do when you don't feel like you fit in either. Mm-hmm. And so that was like the core of the story, and then just kind of finding, and a lot of it's just like details from my life, my family, my friends, and it gets blended into something that's not literally true, but there's but it's based in truth.
Well, sometimes fiction is like more true than truth.
Yeah,
because you can kind of get to
the real heart of something.
You can get to the meat of it without calling anyone out.
Yeah.
Melody, so first of all, do you have like a crew? Did your friends come today?
Yeah, they're over there.
Yay! Yay, Harvard, showing up for their friend. So you started talking about this at the beginning, but this notion of being like adjacent to a really particular cultural story is so interesting to me, and you had to take that role. That was a lot to take on for an early role in your career. But Imran made this like very insidery, kind of like pre-9/11 hairy Muslim male coming of age story that you had to be an integral part of. So you were kind of like, you had to play this cultural adjacent character. Tell me about sort of what was interesting to you about doing that and what you learned from doing that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, first I think that playing this character was so special because it was like I was so integral to like Ilyas's like a growth in discovering like how like what role he plays in the public school and things like that. But what I also found really interesting is that I feel like I see so much of Ilyas, but also Liz and myself in my real life. I grew up going to public school, but obviously my parents are immigrants and they see things in different ways than I do, and I found myself also trying to hide things from my parents that I thought were, like not sort of acceptable. And I mean, here I am, I sort of like lived the ideal life that my parents wanted me to live. Like I'm at Harvard, I study computer science. Like what else could they ask for? But then I also had this like life outside of that where I had this dream of becoming a professional actress / dancer. And I remember particularly in high school where my parents were sending me to dance so many times a week, driving like hours. And there was this one time where my dad was like, I don't think this is gonna get you into the good colleges. And it was really upsetting because dance is a huge part of my life, and like I feel like it's like acting class for Ilyas. Like I found something in it that I felt so like it just really fueled me. And in the end, it was actually the thing that when I read my like admissions letter, where they say why I got admitted to Harvard, it was because I was so good at dancing. And now my parents are, they are also, we need to remind ourselves that my parents are learning too. Like every single day they are discovering and how to raise their children and how to keep them happy as well. And I think that this story of Ilyas and his family and also the dad is just reflective in so many parts of my life and my parents' lives. And yes, I'm like, I play an adjacent character, but like I genuinely see so much of this movie in my life as well. And I just am so lucky.
Okay, Melody is gonna be fine. You guys.
Did your parents see the movie yet?
Have they seen it?
I think your mom saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when
Imran knows.
I talked to your mom about it. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wait, because you guys screened it in Toronto.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wait, she didn't even tell me.
Oh.
Or she didn't even like
She
talk
didn't-
to.
yeah,
We
she
didn't like
talked-
reflect
okay.
or debrief after.
You need your own movie about that, maybe. Just your
Yeah, you
relationship
have something to
with
write now. You have
Yeah,
something to write
okay.
now. I do want to ask Imran about the performance art scene. Just
yeah.
rewatching it now, how much of it is based in reality, or did you just make it up? And also, why that?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of great questions. You know, what I wanted was just, at some point in writing the movie, I got really, or maybe from the inception of the movie, I always thought, I grew up going to so many like fundraisers just like that, and I always, and sometimes there would be. Like there'd be some kids who would do like skits or things like that, but I always thought, what if somebody did something just like really weird? and I had thoughts of like, it'd be so cool if you did this, that, like something like that. Like I had those thoughts.
But you were never that guy.
No, I mean, it's just I didn't get the chance. I wanted to,
Of course.
you know,
Yeah.
like I wanted to do something that was more experimental or whatever. And then looking back, I'm like, what? How would that have gone? You know, like, what did I expect people to do with that? Like, if I were to do something experimental, and so that always stuck with me, like that feeling or that thought. And I thought, it'd be really great. Like that's maybe like where this character kind of like discovers something through like just doing something that's that like free and like open to interpretation, but like weird and kind of like doesn't make sense for that audience, and you know, like I just like the idea of it.
Yeah. Last question, Riz, this is to you. I mean, you got to appreciate Melody's work just now, but you actually worked closest with Atharva, who played Ilyas, who's missing here, I feel like, because he's far away and a junior in high school now?
Junior.
A junior, and he's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's
a lot taller now.
I kind of like lurked his Insta today to see what he was up to. But tell me about him, because this was his first time doing
He was
this.
incredible. Give it up for Atharva.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
He was incredible, and there was something so. His face knew exactly what to do.
It's unbelievable. Like, it's unbelievable how, like, first of all, in addition to the talent, he was so professional.
Yeah.
Like, I worked with kids before, and it's not always great. And he was. He was amazing. He was professional. And these are like long hours, and he's a kid who I don't know if you guys know this, but they have to go to school, and you have to do. We were doing this summer, but there was like a bunch of stuff that kids have other things to do. They don't just get to like, you know. And there's like strict rules about stuff. So I'm saying that like he was definitely all of that stuff. And then the one thing, and you can't teach this to someone. You try and you say it, but he's just so honest in every moment of this movie. Like just honest. He's just having a real, like he's not trying to feel sad for me or do this. He's just really honest, and I think that's a very hard thing to do as an adult as well. Like you're just like, I just need to be true and real, and he in every piece of this movie, I just find him very honest.
Like more about like there was a moment where we're in a rehearsal before, like he had just flown into Toronto where we were shooting the movie, and like I was watching a rehearsal and I just saw what he was doing and it really blew me away. Like instantly I was like, oh, we're gonna be fine, because you have that worry as a director, oh, did I cast the right kid, because he kind of determines the whole film in so many ways. And when I saw him in rehearsal, I realized that he just has a high level of emotional intelligence, and he can understand a situation and like understand emotionally the situation, even adult situations. And I found, and that's like, yeah, again, you can't teach that. That's like he's not pretending to understand something. I think he even at 13, he was like understanding, like, oh, okay, I understand what's happening for this character in this moment. And just huge gift to the film.
I'm going to share something that I'm probably not allowed to share, but it's too late. Is that, and I'm saying this because if anyone who here is an actor or a performer, I met this casting director, Julie Hutchinson, who was like the head of casting for like Fox or something like that, and I was in her office when she got a call that one of like the stars of a movie had dropped out. And she was on the call, she was like fixing everything, and then she got off the call and she's like, okay, let's do this audition. And I said, are you okay? Like this was like a big, she's like, you know what, this happens, the right person always ends up getting the job. And I want to share that they actually had cast somebody else to play Ilyas, and it ended up not working out, right? And and so Atharv, believe it or not, was who they came up with, and it's like a happy accident. Like I'm just saying, I don't understand how I don't know who this person was. I'm sure he was wonderful, but like this performance by Atharv, and I just believe that if you guys have anything that you do, it gave that person's comment just gave me so much peace that even in all the jobs that I didn't get and all the jobs that I might get, the right person is going to end up getting you're going to be in the right place at the right time, and that's some solace.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe like movies have maybe everything, but particularly I feel it more with movies that they just have their own like destiny to them, and they're just things are happening whether you like it or not, and whether you can control it or not. People drop in, people drop out. You lose locations. Yes. You lose like anything can change at any moment, and then ultimately like that was meant for the film, and I feel like Atharv was like meant for this film, and there were some unpredictable elements, but he was meant to be in this film.
Yeah. And the chemistry between Melody and Atharv was also just
two great actors.
Perfect. Just right. Yeah. We're moving on to some audience questions. If you've got them. Should I call them? Are you going to call them? How are you going to do it? I could call them. Great. We'll start in the front.
Awesome. Rizwan, Imran, Melody, congratulations. This film made my toes curl.
Oh, thank you.
I
hope that's good.
No, in the worst way possible. No, but my question to you is, and this might be a question for a producer, I grew up in Pakistan. I'm not actually from the US. And I can tell that this was mounted to be for the diaspora over here. So it's got a very high cultural context. But I can see that we've got all kinds of Asian in the room today, and everybody's toes curled. So I'm wondering, how do you go about marketing a film this specific? Because I know that we've been, like was mentioned before, it's been showed at film festivals, but is there any plan to show this commercially in theaters?
I mean that's in the works right now, and I think there'll be some updates very soon about that, about when and how people can watch this, free, available. You can follow. There is an Instagram account for the movie, Mustache_movie, or you can follow me, Imran J. Khan, and there'll be updates. So yeah, I hope to be having an announcement very soon about that.
Really, congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Right there with that black baseball cap. Yeah. Black baseball cap.
It's me.
Hey.
Hey,
Julian.
Wonderful to watch this film again. because I've seen it, but I so appreciate the choice of restraint for that performance scene, because it comes at a point in like many coming of age movies where it's like everyone's like this uproarious cheering for them, and it's so tepid and awkward. And I just want to hear about shooting that with the background with. Ilyas performing that on set. Like, what was that like on set?
It was actually, it's like, we wrote a scene, but then when you're shooting it also is that scene, because you have all these, the extras, the background there, and they're there all day, and they're just watching him do this thing all day. Like, so for real, it is happening for them. I mean, you were there, like, it is like, it was as awkward for them, probably, as it is, like, in the story of the film at the same time. So, yeah, because like once he starts, you're like, yeah, they are a true audience, like even in the making of it, which is you don't think about until you're there and you're like on set and you're like, oh yeah, they have to sit and watch this guy do this thing. No, I mean, I think we had just like done the choreography like maybe the weekend before. Like we were still like, it was kind of a free flowing like improvised thing that we came up with.
Some of it we didn't even, because he did some of it afterwards, so we saw some of it, but some of it we hadn't even seen the whole thing, because there's a reverse on it, so some of it was I have so much trouble watching that scene in this. I've watched the movie so many times, and I'm like you. I'm like you're like, there's gonna be this chaos and all this stuff, and the way that it's done, and I'm cringing. It's like I'm having like, what is it?
As like, a performer?
But no, as you're feeling Ilyas. I'm feeling this like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like but I just love that it's like that, because it's supposed, like I'm feeling what you're supposed to be feeling.
In another movie, he like does this amazing thing, and everybody's like, oh my god, it's amazing, but not in this movie. Because he's still growing into himself, and I think it's more about him like doing it than it is like it being this incredible thing, which would be like maybe a leap too far for him anyway, and where he is. And I think it's more endearing. Like I just felt like it was more endearing for him to just like do something that was just like what he wanted to do or what he thought would be great, and like let his like family see that he's just like this sort of strange artistic kid that just hasn't found his way yet. And I thought that's kind of what I wanted to get to.
Saw hand back there. The young lady, yeah, right behind you, sir.
Uh-oh.
I'll just talk loud.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun, and it was really touching. I wanted to ask specifically about the voiceover that you used at the. Oh, thank you. That you guys implemented at the beginning, and then kind of pulled back on as the movie went on. And I was wondering what the intentionality was with that in regards to his development and his own kind of, personal challenges and then growth.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's something we thought about a lot, and we went back and forth on a lot. And ultimately what I felt was the story was also, there's also another story for Ilyas, which is he's in his head in the beginning. He almost is like not living in reality in a way, or he's living in this like like something he's kind of overthinking all the time. And I think through the film, through expression, he kind of can be more in his own body and also more present in just like what's going on. And it felt like we didn't need the voice, like the voiceover wasn't a part of, like he had grown he had grown from the voiceover, and now he's just like existing as a person in the world. And it was just, it felt like the right thing. And there was a version where there was maybe like one last like piece of voiceover at the end, and like everything we tried to have him say at the end was not as good as just like being with him in the moment. And that's ended up what that last scene ended up becoming.
Hi, I just want to say I love the movie so much. It was amazing. The one thing that struck me was kind of how you simultaneously had a very emotionally charged movie, but there were also elements of it that were just hilarious. Like it really it's rare that you find a movie that makes you feel both ways. So I was wondering, in terms of production, in terms of acting, how was it kind of striking that balance? One scene is super emotionally charged, super kind of you get that sense, that toe curling sense, so to speak, and you also have another scene where everyone's laughing and it's a super funny scene. So how did you navigate that?
I mean, I think, to me, like, as a storyteller, I feel like you need both, because it's hard to feel, like, if something was heavy the whole way, I don't know if it hits the same way, and if something's funny the whole time, I don't know if that hits the same. For me, life is just both. Like, the funniest thing can be happening at the same time as something devastating, and I just like to find ways to put those together, because there's something really funny about Ilyas like running from his dad on a bike. Like, it is funny, but there's also like, but to him it's like a bit, to him it's serious. So it's like, I think as long as like the character in every moment is like true to himself, then I think it's like we can laugh at the circumstance, but to the character, they're not laughing at themselves. You know, they feel like every moment is like, especially at that age, is like live or die. And so I just feel like you can bring those things together in scenes and through the movie, and it only makes you maybe feel the emotionality more when you do, when you do strike that chord. And so that's kind of how I think about it.
Let me know who to go to.
Red glasses? Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I had to do it, I'm sorry. Thank you for making this. That was incredible. My question for you is, how did you get this made? This is like a hyper-specific movie about Muslim diaspora in America. And like, so how did you go about pitching it and getting people sold on the idea?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It was a long journey just to get sort of financing and then to actually go into production. And that was, I wrote something that, like you're saying, like I was like, maybe nobody's gonna want to make this, but I just had reached a point where I was like, I just want to write something that I would want to watch, or like that speaks to my experience, and just kind of go full tilt. And then I wrote this, I had drafts of this script. A producer named Christopher Storer, who I had a friendship with because honestly through Hassan Minhaj, it's
Christopher Storer. Yeah. Just so we're clear about who Christopher Storer is, he's the bear.
Yeah,
he makes
he
the bear.
Created the bear. Yeah.
Not just any guy to be friends with.
But he had directed Hassan's first comedy special. I met him just when they were taping it. Me and Hassan go back to undergrad. We're longtime friends. He read a draft of it and he wanted to produce it, and it just kind of went from there. And that was, I don't know if I like pitched the movie. I just like was like, hey, can you like, I wonder, I thought he would give good feedback actually. Mm-hmm. And so I had sent it to him for feedback, and he just really like was like, this is like, we need, you should direct this and I want to produce it. And it kind of like escalated from there. And then there's just a lot of boring, complicated things about film finance. And eventually we were able to get money together to make it. And that was a 2-year process just by itself. From like when he wanted to make it to then when we were on set was almost 2 years. So yeah, everything just takes a lot of time. And I made like a lookbook. It's like a pictures to show references of like what the movie might feel like, and then it's kind of like a deck, and then I made like this little sizzle thing, which was like a mixture of movie clips and like that I felt like were tonally similar to the movie, and my home videos like of growing up, and I like cut those together to like a Strokes song, and then I was like, this is like what the movie might feel like. And then that was like something we would like show people when we were getting financing. So that's kind of like how it happened.
Was there a Pillars Fund situation?
Well, they didn't like put money into the movie or anything, but they supported it like spiritually.
That's important, yeah.
Yeah, which
You
is
know,
really important.
one of the co-founders of Pillars is a Boston guy.
Oh,
Dear friend. Yes,
okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you to the film festival for closing with Mustache. We're thrilled. And
Thank
here's
you guys for
Susan.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for coming.
Priya, thank you so much for, Priya did not mention this other part of why she was also selected to be on this panel and to sort of help co-curate. What's the film that you just finished wrapping on? Can you just take a moment? I need you to tell people. This is like legit, like I think it's gonna be like the wedding
We'll
banquet
see.
of Sundance.
I am a
coming
producer
up.
on a
I'm
film that
hoping-
Rizwan was actually acted in this summer. Right now it's called Patel. We think it'll still be called Patel. It's a beautiful retelling of Macbeth as a gangster comedy set in Patel motels. And we're really, really excited about it. It's how we first connected with my filmmaking partners, my producing partners. And we so badly want more films like this to be in front of audiences like you. So that is why we all work as hard as we do. And I'm incredibly grateful to be here. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Priya. And Priya is also based here in Boston, so this is really about supporting Boston area artists, creatives, and filmmakers. So thank you, Priya, for hosting such a wonderful conversation. Thank you both to Rizwan, Imran, and Melody for being here and giving your time to us and helping to make the festival as successful as possible.